Hey, what's going on, folks? It's one and only the Guerrilla Economist, and we have with us the one and only Cowboy, the Professor Extraordinaire. Welcome to Algo Factory Tech. Listen, if you've been thinking about either figuring out how to trade or wanting to trade, well, you found the right spot. We not only teach you how to trade, but we also actually teach you how to build the algorithms that trade on your behalf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter what market you are, in any market across the entire planet. So whether you're living in Japan and you're on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, maybe you're listening to us from Ukraine and you have whatever bombed out, remaining leftover remnant of a stock market you have, you can trade that as well. Or you're in Moscow, or you're in China. Doesn't matter where you are, Brazil, Argentina, you could be in North Korea if you even have a stock market. The fact of the matter is you're able to trade and make a living. You can fire your job, you can fire your boss and tell them to go take a hike, and you can upgrade your life, make a positive impact in your bottom end. And as inflation sets in much of the Western world, as the global economy is breaking apart, wealth moves, and wealth moves through where? Not through the banks, but through the markets. Wealth moves through the markets first. So you'll be able to catch and take advantage of this massive move of wealth right here, Algo Factory Tech. Let's get into it, Cowboy.
Yeah, you can always tell when the gorilla is, I know I talked to V on, Friday. He took a day off, a little under the weather, and then he starts off his show like a little tired, and then all of a sudden he realizes, like, oh, wait a minute, I'm live. I need to talk big. Welcome to everybody. And then all of a sudden, like, then it gets big. Like, yeah, it's all right, man. This will get you good. Just gotta.
I'm sipping my death wish. Bro.
You sipping your Astroglide.
Yeah, I'm sipping my Astroglide, man.
Let me see here. I'm gonna put the link into Discord here.
I apologize for the noise.
What's that?
Pup. You heard that was my puppy.
Oh no, I didn't hear that. You broke up for a second, actually.
You're in a playful mood.
Yeah, puppies are like that, man. Puppies are the best, dude. I remember I got my first puppy. I was 5, and I think I told you this because you just told me about the new puppy you got, your little pit.
Yep.
But I was 5. We went to the breeder, and he was champion bred. It was like a $2,500 dog, but we knew the breeder and whatever. And long story short, they put him in the back seat in my lap all the way home, and my parents said my eyes were like saucers. I was so excited.
Yeah, it's better than a kid and his dog.
Oh, dude, I would go. I lay in that doghouse with him. Like, I mean, we were puppies together,
Exactly, puppies together. It's funny. It's like I have this dog running around the neighborhood on a leash with my daughter. It's like the cutest thing in the world.
Yeah. You got.
They grow up together.
The puppies together, same thing.
Yep.
I think your daughter is older than I was when I got my first dog.
She's like going to be 12.
Oh, geez, dude. Yeah, she's. Yeah. So either way, though, still pretty young. Enjoy youth. That's that's one thing that I don't know, man. If you want your children to have a comfortable life, you do want to make sure they're taken care of financially. You need
Death Wish coffee, man.
I got Verena Street, man. It's good. It's just as healthy, if not healthier.
It's healthy.
No,
I'm talking about the caffeine hit.
I'm talking about it too.
Why do you think I'm wired all of a sudden? I took one sip I did an intro. Now I'm pumped.
Well, that's because you mixed it with your Astroglide and you inserted it.
Hey, it's your fault. You told me to go get Astroglide from Amazon. It's good for my cold, and you take 3 ounces of it with water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, do you follow medical instructions from Jeffrey Epstein too?
No.
No, okay, well then that's your fault.
But he only provides childcare advice.
No.
There's a recipe. Forever. Trev just posted a recipe: faggots with onion gravy. It's an actual dish.
That's an actual dish. That's not a.
Oh, it's for lunch.
Yeah, you have to understand that's a British dish.
That's a British dish. Faggots with onions and gravy is an actual recipe. It's a British dish. Exactly.
Yeah, they're pork shoulder and pig's liver meatball like faggots are a blast from the thrifty past, served with mashed potatoes. Yeah, so that's I thought it was like a cigarette over there. It's what they call a fag.
That's
You
also
know?
true.
Yeah, so that was a cigarette. But you know, I mean, ultimately, it actually comes from a burning stick. That's what a fag was. So yeah, things change. Let me see here. So all right, well, it's Monday. Uneventful as markets go. I mean, there's plenty of stuff that built up over the weekend. What I'm talking about when I say uneventful, I refer to the economic data coming out. So you might hear something about Evergrande or China or whatever, and you know, that kind of stuff is gonna have an effect on some things. You know, when it comes to like all that kind of stuff, look, if you look at the charts, they move rather. They move by themselves. The macro and everything moves not unexpectedly. With the exception of things like COVID. Excuse me, COVID. Damn, dude, freaking yawning, man. I've already finished one coffee now. Just drink the other half of it. This guy makes fun of me like I need Black Rifle. That Black Rifle, that guy is a pork shoulder.
No,
that Black Rifle guy is a pork shoulder, dude.
I'm not telling you to drink Black Rifle. I said Death Wish.
Death
Wish. From New York, organic coffee that packs a caffeine punch right to the face like a Siciliano mobster.
Gotcha.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
bro.
that's. I know my cousins.
This is the closest thing to being on cocaine while you're on the New York Stock Exchange trading floor, brother. Right here, it's a bump in a cup. That's what it is. A bump in a cup, cowboy.
Because that's what I need right now with my wife about to have a kid here. Our due date is in like less than a week. So we're on baby watch. So just so everybody knows, by the way, who's live with us and listening, I might miss a show or two here coming up. I don't know. Well, I should be able to, and I'll miss at least one show. That's for sure. I probably won't be doing a show due to new baby land. That's not due date's 9/11. So that we got our money on the 8th, which is in 3 days. So we'll see how that goes. But last thing I need is to be railing on, caffeine-based cocaine hits.
That's what prepares you for birth. So when it's go time, you grab the hospital bag that you guys already packed. You got the car. You are ready, bro. You are there. You're gonna be like a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be like a free safety on the end zone, ready to catch the baby, man.
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't catch last time. I did cut the cord though.
Yeah, you'll be able to do that too, but even faster.
Yeah, that's actually we did have.
You might cut the doctor's fingertips off by accident.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, last time we had the that whole thing where my wife, she's kind of tough, and she has a real high pain threshold, and so I remember I got in the morning she kind of stopped talking and made this like weird noise. I'm like, what's going on? She goes, oh, just that's a contraction. And so what? She like it was no big deal. It's just a contraction. Well, she thought it was going to be like a false alarm. First baby, they tend to come late and it was early, and so she was kind of like discounting it. And of course, so we stayed at home all day while she was having contractions. We didn't bother to call the midwifery because we're going to do the midwife thing. And so we weren't quite hitting that metric of where you do 411, like whatever, 411, like contractions that last less than a minute, that are less than 4 minutes apart, whatever the thing was, 411, and we couldn't quite hit that. So we were just staying home, and then all of a sudden she went into active labor, and I had to drive her to the hospital. I had to dress her and then drive her to the hospital while she was like screaming and driving 60 miles an hour in the 40 past the freaking police station. And it was just one of those television scenarios, but we're not doing that this time. So no need for the cocaine drive. Thank you very much. The caffeine cocaine. But yeah, we're, it's, if you look at these markets, I think just to jump back into that out of the baby conversation here, let me bring up a screen. This is something that I've been trying to drill into people's heads for a long time. Like, these markets don't really give a shit about events outside of something as grand as COVID. You hear this, Evergrande this and China that, and that's just, I just can't stand how ignorant people are, bro.
Yeah, ignore that crap.
Yeah, it doesn't. Just watch the charts, man. That's all that matters. I'm trying to get into the chat here. Oh, that's why I can't. Okay, hold on. Let me put the screen up, and then I can get into the chat to see what everybody's saying. We got Valley Girl, Miracle Monday Morning. Come on in. We got Mavbet. Hey, howdy. So we got some friends in the chat already. I didn't spread the link as far and wide as I could. Otherwise, we might have some more people in. Maybe I'll just do that. We're already halfway through the show. I'll do it tomorrow. Not a big deal. Let me zoom in the screen. So I ignore all that kind of news. I mean, there's some news that matters, but ultimately, the markets are very predictable. And if you're watching the charts, they're going to be so. I've done on the show enough times for our regular members to have seen that, like, these interest rate moves and these, pivots and what's going to happen with the dollar, which is really what matters in the end, in a big way. That stuff's all been very predictable. I've shown you all on the charts how the charts actually turn several months before the Fed pivots or whatever it is, So one thing that I'm noticing is that the dollar is showing a lot of strength. And at the end of the month, as soon as the month ended, the dollar itself had really been in this kind of scenario where it was ranging, and then it just started cramming down. Right now, it's some people would call it a free fall. I don't like to use those rather hyperbolic language when it comes to these things. But if you look at the euro versus the dollar, the euro, as the dollar was rising, which really started in June of 21, the dollar started to kind of lift. And then, of course, the rate flips happened later. You had the you had the Ukraine thing happen in February, and it seems like everything kind of started to take off around that time, where the dollar got stronger and stronger. And it's the dollar has not gotten much weaker on the higher term. Valentine's asking, is it me or does Cowboy keep fading in and out? I get the feeling, Valentine, it's probably just you. If you're on, if you're on the Telegram, everybody, you're probably going to want to do a Wi-Fi connection. There's a good chance that's your issue. You want to stay Wi-Fi rather than go through cellular data. So, although I tend to go through cellular data when I'm listening to others live stream on Telegram, and I don't have a problem. So it might just have to do with where you're at physically. Jay says it's choppy. Valentine says it's choppy. Well, I'd say hop over to YouTube for now. That's uncommon.
Hop over to YouTube, guys.
Yeah, for now.
Probably a Telegram issue.
Yeah, probably a Telegram issue. That's weird. That's
odd. I'm getting reverb. I'm hearing myself, my echo.
That might be. I don't know what that's about. I have headphones on, so there's no output aside that my mic should be picking up. But you can see right now that, look, the euro on the chart went to historical lows. Oh, Mathbet said it was choppy on ScrewTube. Well, maybe it was. But see, here's the thing: V is not choppy to me, and I'm not choppy to V. So that's the difference. The connection should be fine. Maybe it's a Restream thing, because we use Restream as a V. Are you there? Did we lose V?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Restream is the software that we use to actually send all of everything out to YouTube and to Telegram. And so if both Telegram and YouTube are choppy, but V and I can hear each other fine, then the problem isn't my internet. The problem isn't your internet. The problem would be with Restream. Let me check my internet. Before we continue to look at the charts here. Let me do a speed test. I hit the go button here. I'll do it on the screen so everybody can see. Wants to know location? No, you didn't get to know my location. Yeah, that's a pretty good speed test, approaching 200 download.
That's racist. Racist.
Yeah, it's on the way down. But what's the upload? Upload at 10, 12? Yeah, it's going to approach 20, which is good enough for a podcast. Remember, I also run everything through VPN. But yeah, above 10 really should be good enough. I've never had problems with that. So we're well within tolerance for a podcast. So it's not going to be my internet. V and I hear each other clearly. So yeah, the problem's going to be somewhere within Restream. Hopefully that I'll tell you what, we're gonna, for those of us who are private members, we're gonna take this, record it, and you can watch it later. So I'm gonna just send a message to everybody. The live show is choppy on YouTube and on Telegram. Okay. If everybody go ahead and, give us a shout out on whether or not we're choppy now. That would be good. Otherwise, we'll just continue through with the content here. Trev is typing. Let's see. Clear. Will Travel says it's clear. That's my message after that. Some more shout outs, everybody, but Will Travel says clear. I'm going to move on. So what we're looking at on a very high time frame on the chart here is a monthly SMI dip. Okay, so you're, and those of you who are watching know what that means. Trev says it sounds good. Will Travel says it sounds good. So we're going to move on here from the choppy talk. Okay, so we got some guys that say it sounds good, others that say it's choppy. So if it sounds good to some and it's choppy to others, it ain't nothing to do with us, YouTube, Restream, or anything else. So y'all have choppy internet. Sorry to tell you. All right, so what we're looking at here is actually pretty predictable to a degree. And this is on the euro, which will translate to the Dixie. But look, the dollar has been getting strong. We've been hiking rates. And, I've read a lot about what we think Powell's going to do and what Powell's not going to do. Let me actually type this message real quick into the Telegram. We have a lot of people saying YouTube and Telegram are clear. If it's choppy, then it's on your ISP or connection. So we're going to continue the show. Okay, that's that, everybody. So yeah, we'll just send that message out to everybody. Okay, we're just going to do the show. All right, so dollar's going to get stronger. Powell's probably going to continue to hike, if you ask me. I don't think he's going to be cutting rates anytime soon. A lot of the market is pricing in a cut for sometime in 2024. Maybe we see it, maybe we don't. I think the only time we see a cut is a real severe event. What do you think of that, V? Gorilla.
What did you say? Sorry.
What are you doing over there?
I had to put my dog right behind me, and I had to put my mic on mute. You said something about a soft landing?
Yeah, so no, I didn't. No, I would never say anything about a soft landing. Nothing good anyway. What I'm saying is that, look, the markets are pricing in rate, basically, like they're trying to price in a rate cut for like 2024. But I just see in the charts, I just see the dollar getting stronger for a while. Like, I bet you the dollar is going to be stronger for another 6 months at least. Dollar's
going to be strong for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't think we're seeing any rate cuts for a while, dude.
No.
A lot of the markets pricing one in.
We could see a rate cut. This coming year, 2024, is very possible.
It's possible, but I think that would be after a hard event. I think the time we would see a rate cut is after we see a deflationary event or something. We have to see some stuff break before we see a rate cut, if you ask me. That's my opinion. I mean, are you like on board with that?
I think that's exactly what the market's been like on the behind the scenes, in terms of the way the rate cut's going to happen. I'm sorry for being a little incoherent at the moment, but the way the rate cut's going to happen is this. There with the rate hikes, there's already negative feedback in where? The credit markets and the lending markets, right? You cannot keep choking the life out of the credit markets, the lending markets, the way it's happening right now. And granted, they're doing that. Why the lending and why the credit market? Well, ESG is built on the very fact of lending and credit. So the high interest rate is murdering ESG, and that's great, fantastic. But when the murdering has been complete, and it is already happening, I mean, you have BlackRock admitting that, hey, you know what, we don't want to do ESG no more. We'll probably rename it something else. You have several others. So I'm talking about, social endeavors need to be curtailed, right? You have large oil companies like Shell, third largest oil company in the world, Royal Dutch Shell, saying they are going to abandon all this green policies and going back to doing business that is fully hydrocarbons. So that's the net effect of it. So once that is all done, once we have, because right now Powell has the ESG lobby in a chokehold and choking the life out of them. They're waiting for them to start tapping out. Like Conor McGregor was tapping to Khabib Nurmagomedov in that chokehold, right? They're waiting for the tap. And once that tap happens, then the rates are going to start cutting. Because ESG is just about it's pretty much almost dead at this point. The
do me a favor.
Is incredible. Yeah.
Turn down whatever monitor you have going, whatever volume you have going. See if you can turn that down a bit, because everybody's complaining about echo. I don't hear it, but I'm on the backside of this thing.
How about now?
Sounds better now. What'd you do?
I switched from wireless to wired.
Yeah, whatever. That sounds infinitely better on my end. It sounds way clearer.
Okay, good.
So I think whatever your wireless solution might be a problem.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody else report on whether or not that fixed the echo, because that was a lot of good data that you all just got, and I'd hate for it to be not absorbed because of echoes. Echoes are frustrating. But yeah, I've been telling people that I think that, yeah, sure, if you're going to buy the Tom Luongo kind of idea of high interest rates clearing out the malinvestment, then what we're looking at is a scenario where, like, how do I say this? They're going to, if there are factions, and if some of those factions want to get rid of ESG, and if some of those factions want to weaken BlackRock, right, then the way it is what you got to do is you have to attack whatever investment base BlackRock has. And BlackRock seems to me to be rather Davos oriented. And those people need to be, basically, they need to be neutered financially and maybe even in real life. So, that being the case, okay, yeah, Be Good says could not understand V's deep dive. That's a freaking shame. Because that was a good deep dive. We might have to re-say that. We got a few minutes left in the show. I think it might even be worth re-saying. Ray says still a jungle echo. I didn't know what a jungle echo is. That's racist.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I'm hearing echoes on my end as well. Like, I'll talk and then I'll hear myself. It's weird.
I wear headphones. It should not allow. I'm going to flip a switch in my headphones.
I don't think it has anything to do with you or me. I think there's something wrong with whatever. I mean, it could be an issue with Restream.
It could be, yeah. I wonder
if it's not Telegram or YouTube, it's not my stuff or your stuff. I'm on a hardwired audio. It's probably Restream.
Okay, well, it's going to be whatever it is. Jay Martin says still some echo, not as bad as before, so we'll see. But long story short, I don't think there's going to be a cut until it's absolutely necessary to hold up certain key things in the economy. And when you build investments on 12 years of cheap money, what you've done is you have built like financial vehicles that were able to operate in very easy conditions. Okay. So you have things like ESG that really, on many points, have been proven. Like, let's forget the argument. Let's pretend for a minute that I'm concerned about ESG and I really want it to work. Like, let's pretend, because it's not really true, but let's pretend. Okay, it still has to be profitable, right? You can't just force money into something that's not profitable, not in the real world. But we haven't been living in the real world. We've been living in, and I'm kind of restating some of the things that V said in his deep dive for the benefit of the audience without an echo, right? So that's not, you can't just like open a business that loses money. Just that never works, ever. And so when you have unrealistic financial conditions, which are basically free money, and then that free money is printed in a country that is able to export its inflation elsewhere, which we've been able to do since like 100 years, then you're able to kind of produce these investments that show a nominal yield. But around the world, that you're basically offloading the losses around the world in the form of inflation. And that really is a form of like theft. Like when you have financial conditions that allow you to push fake investments that basically unload inflation on the rest of the world, you're a thief. That's what you are, and you're nothing less and you're nothing more. And so the thievery must end, right? And the only way for the thievery to end is for us to have more realistic financial conditions. And the more realistic financial conditions consist, and we're going to go a little bit past the normal flip over to the private chat here because we lost a lot of time talking about echoes. So long story short, the only way to have real conditions is to like basically raise the interest rate, because money really is not free. Money is not free. And in order for money to work, there needs to be a yield. So what we're going to do, apparently, what the Fed is doing is it's going to go ahead and push interest rates back into a more real territory where in order for businesses to survive, they have to be profitable. And if a business is no longer profitable because free money is the only reason it is profitable, then that business will go under. And so you already have, like V said in his Echo Talk, where you have the conditions of, ESG. A lot of these, BlackRock is moving away from ESG. They're going to call something else. And I get it. Look, ESG, well, at least the environmental aspect of it, I understand the concern for a lot of miseducated people who want to help the environment and all that. I get it. But here's the problem with that. You got to do research and development before you put something out to market. You don't just put something out to market. We saw this with the Jibby Jab. You got to kind of spend a lot of time developing something in the laboratory, making sure that it's cost effective, and then put it out in the market. Because if it's not cost effective, it's just going to go under when financial conditions are realistic. And the tide is going out, and we are now seeing who is naked. And this is why ESG is going to fall. And it's been falling. It's not going to fall. It's falling now. It's been falling. So, reality is catching up, and hiking the rates is what is going to cause reality to continue to catch up. And it doesn't seem to me that anybody has enough pressure on Powell or the Fed to cut rates. It seems to me that certain powers that be want the rates to fall. And if you look at the charts, it's really simple. I can tell you algorithmically, the dollar is probably going to hit new highs. It has broken out of a multi-month range. It ranged really since the dollar kind of has been ranging in a sense since February or March of 2015. You could even break that down to since 2017. It broke out of that range, and remember, we're looking at a high time frame chart here. This is a high time frame range. It deviated from that range. It broke out of that range here on August of 22, when the euro actually went below parity with the dollar, meaning that the euro became worth less than the dollar, which is historically, I think, a first since that has been that way since 2002 ish, maybe even 2002. So I do think that we're going to approach that. I don't know what's going to happen, whether or not we're going to hit parity again. It might even go lower. I know Europe is having a lot of trouble. Again, Tom Luongo talks about a lot of bond kind of chicanery over there to keep the spread between the euro and the dollar intact. But if I go to a lower time frame on this chart, what we're going to see is, let's see here. we're going to see a multi-say month range on the euro dollar. Okay. We have this period where, not the euro dollar, I was thinking more of the Dixie, but so the Dixie range for a while, which is the dollar index, but you can see, this is going back to August 28th, so that's not what I want to see. We need to go to higher time frame. And I'm talking about the euro specifically because everything ESG is gonna sort of be like Eurocentric. You know, everything ESG is coming out of Davos. So as I expand this, we're going to look at kind of what's happened after the big dump back in September of 22, and the euro has made itself a comeback and has been effectively ranging since really we can safely say a range since what is that, January of this year, so the beginning of the year, and the euro even popped out of that range. But in reality, the euro is under a lot of pressure and they're neutering their own economy, and so they're not going to be able to keep up. In order to keep things together, where you are taking away all of your nuclear power plants in your most economically productive nation, aka Germany is their industrial powerhouse over in Europe, right? And in order for Germany to be an industrial powerhouse, you have to have cheap energy. And blowing up Nord Stream and cutting off their natural gas has quadrupled their energy prices and getting rid of all their nuclear power plants. So when you neuter your industry in Europe, then you're going to experience a big problem. And you're going to, basically, they're going to have to cut their rates and print money to keep up, or they're going to have to do something else. And again, for us to continue to hike rates, eventually something over there is going to break. There's not enough old money to keep things afloat over there, if you ask me. This is real economies. This isn't, some situation where you can play with, numbers independently of the rest of the world to kind of keep up. Europe doesn't have, I don't think, that kind of economy. So, yeah, Valley Girl says one Bitcoin is worth still more than $1. Jay Martin is asking the question. We'll go ahead and flip over to private here, but I just wanted to give some extra time because we had some issues with sound. Jay Martin says, will the feds prop up the falling market today? Are you guys buyers? Prop up? No. I mean, I don't care about markets. I'm a currency trader. I think that ultimately we'll probably see, what I think will happen is maybe 2024. I think we might see something big happen next month. I mean, I think we might see some kind of market tumult either this month or next. But I don't think there's going to be a rate hike, or a rate cut. I don't think there's a pivot. Maybe a pause. We might see a pause. But long story short, every time that we pause, the stocks tend to go up. So we don't need to hike to keep stocks afloat at this point. We just pause hikes. We're still in a very inflationary environment. So that being said, I mean, could the feds prop it up? Well, is a rate pause going to prop it up? Maybe. Am I a buyer? I don't know. I just look at the charts, Jay. I look at the charts. I mean, to look at the dollar looks like it's getting a lot stronger. If the dollar's getting stronger, then I'm not really interested in trading against the dollar, which is what buying stocks effectively is. And you're looking at a very, there's a channel. I'm not big on horizontal channels like this, but, looking at the Dixie, it was ranging for some time. And now it's breaking upward. Is it going to continue to do that? Let's see here. Look at the Dixie real quick. I wanted to eventually get to this today. Yeah, the Dixie's at a very precarious place for being in a dip. The Dixie right now wants to power up. I can tell you from an algorithmic standpoint, the Dixie wants to go ahead and retest its highs again. So am I a buyer? No. Because no, not with stocks, but I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not giving investment advice. I'm merely saying I'm looking at charts and analyzing charts, right? So basically not saying anything besides what the chart looks like. But if I were to DJI, let's see here. Let's do SPX 500, do some futures if I can find it. Next CFD, yeah, this will do. You can see as the dollar goes up, look at these two yellow lines, right? The yellow lines that I drew back here are the dollar heading up and the beginning of the dollar taking off in earnest. So the first line here that I drew on this chart is, we talked about this a few weeks ago. That is basically the when the real pivot happened that we didn't talk about. And then the pivot that everybody talked about happened in February. So back in May of 21, the dollar started to get stronger, but the Fed didn't start playing around until February of 22. So almost a year later, 10 months later, 9 months later, that's when the real pop happened in the dollar, right? So what I'm seeing now is another possible pivot back upward. And I think that eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to draw a line right here. Right? Where's my line here? I'm going to draw a line right here.
Can we switch over to private lab?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
And I'm going to draw a line there and talk about it in private lab. All right, let's go.